what happened last week? Lovebirds.
I ran out of pages in my journal, so my notes aren't that good, but
You make notes?
I used to take notes, and now I have like a sticky note from last session, so if somebody else remembers better than me.
We dished out the loot. Got teleported to greener pastures, literally. Wedding
with a select amount of
vibes.
NPCs.
Ah, yes, the NPCs. Who could forget those? Not me.
Tremtrist
forgotten
is
all
about
of
to come into his ultimate power now. He's been transported to the farmlands. Sorry for interrupting.
No, that's fine. I frankly forgot all of the NPC names. Just like Providence.
If you ever do want to know, Dewey has put together a handy spreadsheet which you can find.
Yes,
in the
I have seen the Codex Astartes fucking Warhammer grade length document. It's beautiful. I think we all just vibed. We all went into different things.
There was, I think, more out-of-game roleplay than there was in-game roleplay last week. For what I can remember, you guys divided the loot, which didn't take very long whatsoever.
That didn't need an hour.
No! And then you transported via plants!
No, we just straight teleported.
Right, yes. A new thing that Chance can do. Along with Quinn, Trimtrist, Dune. I think that was it.
Yeah.
Who has gone off to start helping dig like pitfall traps around the southern gates, along with Arazid. And that's where they're probably going to be for all this session, because neither of them are here. I mean, Dune was never here, they're an NPC, but you know what I mean. Audra had a conversation with a capital C with Sophia, her once apprentice. And then you all spent the rest of your day at the library!
Knowledge.
Thank you, Sarah. Was there any like unresolved questions that people wanted to look up at the library that we could start with?
I was looking up to see if I could find any other reference to the Hexad, and maybe writing on that nat 20 that I got on Arcana on Providence, if there's anything that I can do for them regarding the issue with their body and their magic.
Right.
I have come up with some stuff for that.
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, the meme takes precedence, but yes, I will open up the document.
The meme? You making
Yes,
a
the
meme?
meme. Of course I am.
Well, yeah, the whole like your magic is killing you thing was your idea, so
Yeah. I mean, it's subject to DM vetting as well, because there are some things in there that you could take as inspiration to mess with the party.
As I have done many times before.
Of course. I love giving the DMs the ability to just go, here's CR23, good luck.
Okay, so while we're waiting for Providence to finish making a meme and then open up a document, shall we discuss the Hexad?
Yes, because Shadow mentioned it, which I think this is maybe more commonly known. Or at least there's something about it somewhere.
Okay, so how would you go about that in the quite expansive library that is the Soulflame Library? Would you be looking up Shadow as like a name, or would you be looking up references to the Hexad in like history books that you can find?
I would be looking at references to the Hexad. I don't know if something like this exists, but there's a show called Legacies, which is a sequel from Originals, and they have a magical library where you can like word search.
Like a mass index.
Yeah, there's like a little thing in the center, and you can put like up to a 10-letter word.
Cool. Unfortunately, this has no such function that you know of, because that would be kind of cheap for me to steal it like that. But you can ask the librarian Nimrali, or their assistant Azatane, if they have ever come across references to the Hexad or to someone called Shadow or whatever.
Yeah, I will ask them both, and then I will also, if that's not fruitful, I will start pulling random books off of the shelves.
Azatane has heard of like one reference to the Hexad. I mean, they've seen a reference in like the library, the definition of the word Hexad itself, which is a group of 6. And she remembers reading something about it in a biography of like well-known lacrimat figures. Someone called Donatella Kanda.
Sorry, Donatella, what was that last name?
You're about to take it, you should know.
I thought so! Okay.
Or not, you're a free woman.
I mean, I don't have one, so maybe, I don't know, we'll see. We haven't talked about that yet. Is Donatella Kanda, like, is she one of the Hexad, or is she, like, the author? Like, how is she related to that?
It was told that she foretold the coming of them.
And I'm trying to remember the quote-unquote oracle's name as we knew it. Was it Donatella?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the same person, we're just kind of learning their last name.
You actually did learn their last name.
But they were married, so it was maybe their married name?
Their last name when you saw it was Coda.
Oh.
Here's a fun fact that I thought maybe one of you would pick up on. The name Kanda, in real-world Japanese, means a divine rice paddy. And other ways of writing that include the name Coda.
I mean, I thought it was just going to be one of those things where, I've done genealogy research on myself, where your last name sometimes will change over time, is also a thing that happens, because people will, like, spell it differently and write it down differently, and
it's possible that is what's happened here. Since you heard her referred to, well, you met her brother, or her brother's skeleton, in the past, Raphael. Coda, his name was. You also found a napkin of hers in Sklad's hoard.
Mm-hmm, that I identified and that Arazid refuses to believe is hers.
And since from there we've gotten Luigi as canon. So yeah, you've now heard references to Donatella Kanda and Donatella Coda, both of whom seem to be attributed as being an oracle-like figure.
And is there, like, are they just, like, mentioned as a figure, from the past, or is there any more information on them in this, like, reference book?
It's basically like a footnote.
Okay.
In, like, an exploration of Lacrimat's, like, wider military structure. There's, like, a footnote that sometimes the leader would take advice from a quote-unquote oracle called Donatella Kanda.
Okay, I'm definitely borrowing that book just so I can show Chance that footnote. Do I find any other mentions?
No.
And what about the shadow figure?
You don't find any references to an individual called Shadow. But you do find references to like shadow magic, and like shadow stepping, the same thing that you saw him doing, where he would like phase in and out of the universe. So you found like some hints of his abilities described in like manuals.
And I would know that Shadow is most likely a
pseudonym.
No, I meant like based on, since I'm looking at like the magic of their abilities, like class wise, would I know what class Shadow is?
Most likely sorcerer or warlock.
Because there is like shadow monks and stuff too, so.
Considering, like, I'm assuming Chance would have relayed that he's seen firsthand shadow casting like actual spells, like it seemed like a detect magic. A monk seems unlikely.
Could be multi-class, you never know.
True.
Yeah, so while we're, just laying in the flowers in the sun, I would definitely, like, roll over and grab that book and show it to Chance that references his ancestor, ?
Did your light just, like, pop out of the ceiling?
What I think has happened is my upstairs neighbour is looking after, I think, like, young nieces, nephews, and I just heard jumping. It's like, it's not that big of a problem. And next thing you know, I hear like a pop, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? I look up, and one of the lights is playing whack-a-mole. So, I'm gonna go perform a roof repair in the break.
Oh no.
Oh well. Anyway, continue. Book.
Yeah. Do you want to deal with Chance learning that, or should we stay in like the library setting and talk about Providence's stuff?
If Providence is ready, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we should wrap everything up before moving on to that.
Okay. So there's two categories to this. There's permanent and there's temporary. Permanent stuff is along the lines of wish, divine intervention, high, strong magic. You consider the possibility of trying to find the origin source to her abilities, and maybe that'll do something. Or alternatively, removing her magic completely. So those are kind of like the three big permanent options. Temporarily, things like reincarnation and resurrection.
Audra sits there and thinks about that for a minute and is like, Providence probably doesn't want to die to deal with this.
There's a little bit more than that, but obviously they're more DM notes and things.
Yeah.
So
it's just something I'll read over.
We're not going to shank a team member and then bring them back to life?
I would do it if they asked me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah. I don't know whether the ridiculous arcana would be worth anything else, but
speaking of wish, Ren, I think we established previously that someone in Grove is capable of casting wish.
Yep.
Was I able to figure out, was it Lulu, or was I not able to figure out who was able to do it?
It definitely seemed like it was Lulu.
Okay, I'm gonna make a mental note to go speak with her later.
I think essentially how it went is that you detected someone had, like, cast it previously.
Yep.
Alright, already got ideas popping off, but I gotta stay in game right now.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I'd say with the 28, you can tell that I guess, would it be safe to say that Audra could pinpoint that it's divine sorcery?
I mean, I think she has already been able to figure that out because you can do some cleric stuff.
Possibly, but like this is affirmation.
Maybe that's why
confirmation.
You got like the nat 20, in a sense, divine intervention, because you've already noticed some things, so the overall conclusion was easier to reach.
Yeah.
So essentially it would seem like your soul is kind of like split and very
In
slowly you're decaying without part of it.
It's... Yeah, I'm just going to explain it, because 28 Arcana, magic, you can figure it out.
I'm so good at magic.
It's so good at magic. Providence was basically forced to cast magic way above what their body was capable of withstanding at the time. It'd be like a 12-year-old handling the recoil of a 50 caliber rifle. That kind of thing. And over time her body is slowly breaking because handling it but breaking it. And then at some point it got bad enough to the point of no return. And it fractured her soul. So her soul is intact but kind of fractured and not quite coherent to what it was originally. And that's why her magic looks broken.
There's a little ouch frowny face in Audra's notes.
Hence why things like reincarnation or resurrection are not permanent fixes. Because
it's a soul problem, it's not a body problem.
You're not just dealing with the body, you're dealing with the soul. So even if you were to give her a brand new body, her soul will just continue to destroy that body.
Understood.
Yep. Welcome to me introducing a level 12 character. I tend to bring something quite interesting. Hence this. But yeah, if you've got any other questions, you or Ren think that 20 answers, then ask. Or ask out a game or whatever.
Yeah. I'm, like, probably going to end the session, like, at the break. Because brain and body.
Yeah, that's completely fair. But you do sound like you're going through the ringer at the moment.
A little bit. I've had to, like, put my headphones over only one ear, because, like, my infected ear's just getting a bit much.
Yeah, that's more than fair. To be fair, though, that aesthetic with just one head-ear thing over the ear is a vibe. You know, you could sit in a coffee shop with lo-fi music, just one ear listening to music, the other listening to some guy outside playing the trombone.
Lo-fi jazz beats that you're gonna threaten your party to.
Yes! Yeah, lo-fi beats to question life.
Basically what I did last week. In the last session.
God, that music was so good.
It made me want to watch Cowboy Bebop quite a lot, which I then did,
Nice.
I think, after the game.
God, I want to watch that again. I want a D&D party introduction for either group that's just Cowboy Bebop with the characters.
Okay, so
Yeah, there you go.
Audra learns like a fair amount about Providence's possible condition. Explanation partially to be added here. And then should we go to after she does that and then lays on the grass with her worm boyfriend? Sorry, worm.
He's not a worm, but I would love him even if he was.
You could awaken him as a worm.
Yeah.
I don't think I can cast that spell yet.
Chance just vibing. Oh, I guess that's a weird druid thing. I don't know.
Suddenly, in the middle of your conversation about your dream home and everything, Audra goes, "Oh!" and rolls over and scrabbles towards her backpack.
I almost forgot to tell you. I found this crazy reference in this weird book. It's super old, about, figures in Lacromat. I was just browsing, just light browsing. and I found this, and kind of like points to the footnote, and like pushes it in Jance's face.
Chance will read it, kind of narrow his eyes. Perhaps.
Interesting
These
connection
are-
there, right?
Yes, interesting developments. I'd say no, because it would have been. Probably next to impossible to trace the mine fully back.
I mean, maybe, but not a lot of people kept good records, immediately after the calamity. Like, there's like a whole chunk of history there where there's just like not a lot of books from that time. Explains why you're so good at magic, though. Magic family.
I'd say it would make sense if things are passed down through generations.
Although sometimes it just happens, my mom's mundane.
Jane seems relatively lost in thought about the idea of the sudden realization of, oh god, the skeleton that I kind of, somewhat desecrated was my ancestor.
Are you okay there? You look like you just went to kind of a dark place in your own head, maybe.
No, it's fine. Well, I mean, we can reasonably intuit that if the Oracle was an ancestor, then the Oracle's brother that was in the lab there was also an ancestor, and
Yeah,
that's
more than likely.
just something to process in more than 60 seconds.
Yeah, if there's the traditional, male last name line happening, then it's more than likely he was your direct ancestor.
Or perhaps a brother to my father, or something along those lines. Although the hair and eye color didn't stick.
Imagine Chance, but with turquoise hair.
Audra actually does sit there imagining it for a minute. It would be so hard to match clothes to, though.
What?
Nothing.
Well.
Anyways, don't pay attention to those other books on reincarnation and soul healing and all that. That's a whole other thing. So the plan is to find the group and tell them about the divination that I did, or maybe they're busy.
It's probably best that we get around to that. As much as enjoying the nice day is enjoyable.
I mean, if you want to just lay here, I could just turn into a cat.
I mean, I'm not against these things. However, we should probably start at least planning.
No, right? Yes, real responsibilities. Yep. Get up, dust myself off. There's a ton of grass sticking to my clothes, probably.
Yeah, Chance will just get up and, with a quick wave of hand, prestidigitation.
That is extremely handy.
And prestidigitation.
That's so cool. I wish I could do that.
What is Solas doing in all this time?
Give a sec, dying.
Aren't we all?
I think maybe I missed that with my bad ear, sorry.
Sorry. I was just dying quickly. Anyway.
Oh.
Yeah, note to self, don't inhale water.
Oh, I see.
So I do that a lot. It's kind of concerning. Yeah, after kind of just getting back to the manse after wandering around, he'd probably just find a place to rest, as he's not really got much to do in this place as far as he's aware. So unless anyone came up to him, he wouldn't really do much and just find a good place to relax for the time. Maybe get on with spell making or something.
That sounds in keeping for Solas. He may feel compelled to go and help out his former associate, Dune, down at the barricades, but otherwise would feel pretty free to have a good old nap.
Yeah.
If you were to go into Artemis's manse, you would find that people have been trying to slowly renovate it into some form of, like, central meeting hall.
Hmm.
Kind of similar to when you guys hosted a, like, plan of defense meeting on, like, the top of the upper floor of the foyer area. When everyone was gathered around. But it seems that, like, some of the more useless lounge areas have been turned into offices, and the casino seems to have been turned into a full-on meeting room. The sauna, however, has remained, as have the guest bedrooms.
Yeah, I think you might just take one of the guest bedrooms, unless anyone complains.
No one's around to complain to him right now.
Well,
The few people that are there are basically just either carpenters breaking down and reshaping furniture, or cleaners doing what cleaners do best.
then he takes the room.
The bed is like feathers, and it just sinks in and envelops him completely.
Nice. So, kind of just wander around the place, get a note on everything, and just sort of find like a comfortable place to sit, and then at the time, start working on making some spells he's thought up over a few days.
Okie dokie.
So, I think go for the leveled one first. And as part of that, I'm going to burn the magic out of my old sword that I had. So that was a very rare magic item, so that's 35% on top of that.
The rhyme flame.
Yes. So it's a second level, so that's going to be 40% base chance.
Okie dokie.
For reading this correctly. Yeah. And then I think I need to spend 3 golds worth of stuff, is it?
What is it, a first level spell?
Second.
Second, then yes.
So that's just that to 12. So now that's 43. Is it? No. Wait. No, it's not. I've only done this once before, bear with me. 36. Nope.
Okay, you would need 60 or higher.
Yeah.
But now it is 59 or higher.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Cool.
So, just go for that. And then I'd also like to give cantrip a try.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 10% base chance. And nope.
Womp womp.
Alright, well. And so after he's given that a try, he'll just think about it for the time, and then just relax until everybody is done for the day.
Fair enough. So after Audra leaves, does Providence remain in the library for much longer?
Probably not after having that mental discussion on the RP. I think she's gonna go find somewhere where she won't injure someone if something goes horribly, horribly wrong. Would it have been possible to have a short rest?
Yes.
Oh, lovely, because I need to spend a hit dice. Well, that's perfect. Basically, I need to spend a hit dice to use the Bloodwell Vial +1 to get back 5 sorcery points. Because it's not on a short rest, it's whenever I spend a hit dice.
Okay.
Which is interesting wording, but I suppose there's other abilities that make you spend hit dice. I just want to cast a cantrip and then try the wild magic shard because I want to. I want pure chaos. And Providence is vibing with it. There's no one around to get hurt either. So I guess I know subtle cast prestidigitation. So nothing really happens, but it kicks off the wild magic shard. Which is whatever that is.
The Feywild shard is that?
Yeah, the Feywild shard for... I now need to figure out what 38 is.
38 is... 1d6 flumps controlled by the DM appear in unoccupied spaces within 60 feet of you and are frightened by you. They vanish after 1 minute.
The fuck is a flump?
They are very good friends.
A wonderful, wonderful
Have you ever heard of the
creature.
spaghetti god? The spaghetti monster.
Tell me more.
They would essentially be the spaghetti monster's, like, priests.
Oh boy. I wanted something whimsical. Providence has just got more trauma. Even more things are running away from her. She is scaring the spaghetti.
I'm assuming you're doing this, like, in the scriptorium. You just, like,
Oh,
prestidigitation
no.
away? Okay.
Somewhere, just leave the library. Somewhere with absolutely no one nearby.
Yeah, you did say that there would be... You didn't want to hurt people. So quickest places would be, like, around, like, the border between the Noble District and the rest of Grove, or you could go out into the fields.
I'd go to the fields, why not?
No, fields
Now there's just
up here.
flumps. Yeah, that'll do.
And now there's just these, like, I think they're quite small. They look like they should be small.
Yeah.
There are 2 of them. Just kind of floating around going... they're just kind of like darting back and forth. They keep trying to like return to where they were summoned from, but every time they see you, they get spooked and start running away, going...
I'll move out the way so they can go back.
The problem is, like, they were summoned from you, so when you move, they just keep trying to come towards you.
Oh! I
And they
guess I
keep
just...
going...
Oh. Poor things. I just look sad and dejected and go invisible. And then I'm eventually gonna just amble absent-mindedly towards one member of the party and you can decide who I bump into.
They only stick around for like 1 minute. I assume you spend about 30 seconds with this dilemma.
Probably.
During which time Trim would like begin to come towards you since he's now working the fields. Oh, howdy there. Providence, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know where these things came from, but they don't like me.
Oh, they're just little critters. Come here, little guy, come here.
Okay, wait there. Yep, you got this. Bye.
One of them just kind of flumps right into his arms.
I love creatures.
What a beautiful creature this is. I'm sure that they've got their place in the world. They seem to be a bit spooked. Oh, it's okay there, chappy. And at that point, the minute is up, and they both poof out of existence with a whoop. Oh,
I'm just gonna go find the others so I don't cause any more problems. Okay, bye.
have a good one.
Now, I need to question this, right? It says on the item that a shard has 6 charges and returns at dawn. But the Feywild shard says it can only be used once until next dawn. So which one takes precedence? The recharge from the overall item or the recharge of that shard in particular?
Where are you seeing that it has 6 charges?
So on the Feywild shard, if you don't have the Wild Magic Sorcerer origin, once this property is used to roll on the Wild Magic table, it can't be used again until next dawn.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Essentially, each, like, you pluck out the shard itself from the necklace, right? And then the shard becomes, like, just the normal physical shard that, unit that has its own sheet.
Oh, okay. I misread it.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, that
Once
makes sense now that I've applied English.
That's fair. You gotta pluck it out in order to use that specific shard.
Hmm.
You have 6 rounds
To use it before it goes.
Yeah, so just
Unless
over
it-
half a minute.
Unless it doesn't have, because most of them don't have a, you get one use, that's it.
Yeah.
All of them are. So I imagine it's just 6 rounds of that.
Yeah, I might need to reread and rebalance, but
Yeah, that's
essentially-
perfectly fine.
Essentially, my plan for this item was you can use each shard once per day maximum.
Yeah, that's that. To be honest, I don't think I could use all of those shards in one day, even if I wanted to, because every one of them requires meta magic.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of good that there's a limit because it's a lot you could do with it.
Oh god,
That's why
yes.
I thought it was
I would.
a fun but balanced item.
Yes, I would want a limit because I would be overwhelmed by choice if I could just go hippity hoppity. You have disadvantage on everything. Now get off my property.
Hippity hoppity, your plane is now my property. So you
Yes.
wander back. I assume that at this point, like, Chance and Audra are, like, chilling together somewhere maybe over here.
Yeah, that lake is cool.
Providence, you are completely unfamiliar with this city, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
I did walk Providence around earlier and give them directions.
I know my way to the tattoo place and the brothel. So can I just walk past and does Solas just see me out the window?
Unless Solas is having a nap, yes.
Probably.
Would probably be having a nap or would probably see them out the window.
He would probably be like sat, like dragged a chair over to the window and just like sat looking out. So it's possible he would have seen Providence walking across.
If you were to walk down this alley, you would see a small gnomish child. And, like, gnomes are already quite small. Example A, Arazid. So, you almost kind of trip over this kid. They're like 9 years old. They look up at you, way up at you. They're like, hello, are you my friend now? I used to be friends with this robot that was in the window, but then the robot went away, and now I don't have any friends, except for Tweez, of course, because Tweez are very cool.
They're weird. Trees are weird.
Tweez are weird and cool. You are my friend. You like Tweez as well. Hello, my name is Gamel.
Your name is what?
Gamel.
Okay.
What is your name?
Providence? Wait, why am I confused at my own name? Yeah, close enough.
Providence. That's a weird name.
It really is. It really is. Here you go. I take the tiny robot out of my pocket. And just like, go be friends with this child. I hand the robot over to this child.
You may need to cover your ears with the resulting scream of excitement.
I'm used to toning up voices.
It's so cool! Look at it! It's not my size!
Mm-hmm.
Gee, thanks!
Yeah, no worries. I'm just looking at Solas like, for the love of God, help me. This is a child.
Solas is just looking out the window watching this like, yeah.
Hell no, I cast prestidigitation. I open the window. It's like, help.
How high up is Solas right now?
You're on the ground floor.
Oh, okay.
The first floor for you non-Brits.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, no, he'd just jump out the window and just be like, okay, what is it? Oh, God. And as he sees the child...
Move, mister.
As he sees the child, he makes the exact same face Providence has.
Finally, we can bond over something.
I've got my new toy. Isn't it cool?
Yes, it
yeah.
is. Treat it with respect.
Does it have a name?
Realizes I cannot call a robot Hades to a child. That's just weird. Give them a new name. They'll let you know if they don't like it. We need to go take care of some adult business, don't we, Solas?
Well, that sort of sounds a bit... Yeah, sure, fuck it. Wait, no, ignore what I said. Let's go, as Solas drags Providence by the arm round the corner.
I thought you were going to drag me through the window.
No. Just forcefully yeet through the window. No.
You probably could. I'm light enough.
Probably.
Okay. Have a good
Bye.
time. Thank you again, horny lady.
Oh my God, Solas, thank you.
The T1 NY robot will raise one of its many appendages towards you and will execute a quick goodbye. It may even give a salute.
Aww.
And then you see it kind of like snuggle up to this child.
Aww. I did something right. Thank you, Solas. You can let go of me now.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't know how to deal with kids either. That was...
I'm going to be honest.
Is what it was.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie, I can't pull, like, how I'm used to dealing with children, because, I'd be killed. Or arrested. Or both. In various orders. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just not going to question that. You're welcome.
I really wouldn't.
No, I probably wouldn't either if... yeah. What the fuck? Anyway.
Is there somewhere quiet around here?
Very good question. I'll be honest, I don't really know this place well. Like, I just kind of wander around aimlessly.
Oh my god, same.
Yeah.
It's nice to be left with your own thoughts.
Well, yeah, sometimes. Regardless, so, well, like...
This is weird, isn't it?
No, I'm just really not sure. Like, I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know where the fuck I'm going. Do you want to, like, just relax for the day? There's rooms in the manse here, like...
Okay. You'll have to forgive me for asking this.
Yep.
How do you do that?
What?
Relax.
Oh, that is a question. Okay.
Look, remember where I came from?
No, yeah, no, it's fine. Just...
Also, I'm using... Because Chance is, like, new art, doesn't have a background, I'm using the tip of the sword just to, like, run through words like I'm underlining them, and it's the funnest thing I've done on this map. Oh my god, CR7? Hell yeah, that child's, like, dangerous now.
He was kind of dangerous beforehand, but that was mostly because he wouldn't stop asking questions.
My god.
It's okay, I dealt with it.
Oh, is this the child Audra kidnapped, isn't it?
Wait, what? Come
We didn't
again?
talk about that. Providence doesn't know about that.
No, this is me as a player. What? How can I trust you with my character's life if you've kidnapped a child?
I kidnapped them for their own safety, and it was for like 2 seconds. And then I returned them
That's
to
like
their
saying
parents.
you robbed a bank for the good of the people. You still
Okay, you
robbed
remember
a
how they were
bank.
talking about that metal friend that they were like... They were trying to get into like Artemis's manse, which was like the big one of the big baddies of this town in the past before we killed them. And
Like
we're
most of
gonna
your problems.
try to get into a room that would probably, that as Audra kill them. So I just got them away from that room really quick.
Okay, that's a bit better. But a room
Red
that's
is
gonna kill them,
exaggerating when they say that I kidnapped them. Okay,
like,
I moved them from one street to the next street over.
okay, so it was kidnapping light.
I was babysitting. Okay, I was
That's
temporarily
not
babysitting.
babysitting.
The kid was unsupervised.
Robbing a bank for the good of the people? No, that's a chance thing.
Solas, I need to ask a very, very important question.
Oh, yes?
What the fuck is wrong with you lot? I mean, I get it's pretty audacious for me to say, given the fact that I was Masara's personal weapon, but boy, it's been 5 days and we've killed a lot of people.
Yeah, no, that is honestly a more loaded question than the last one. And it will take...
I'm really sorry.
No, it's fine. I have literally this entire day to explain anything you want.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry. There's going to be so many questions.
Well, I have answers, maybe? I don't know. Might not be the best, but no. Better than no one, I guess. Maybe.
Well, I feel like you'd have the most straightforward answer out of everyone. I mean, as far as I can tell, you know, Audra's nice, weirdly.
Yeah.
Arazid's nice, weirdly.
Mm-hmm.
You're... you.
Yep, certainly am.
Inqua... I really don't know what to make of him.
Neither do I, don't worry.
I'm going to be honest, that whole speech about, like, ending the world kind of surprised me. But then, like, you're the son of Mechis? I mean, I'm not going to lie, you're not exactly what I pictured as the son of Mechis.
Well, to be fair, I wasn't raised by her. Like,
I'd be kind of surprised if you were, because that'd be a
Yeah.
bit of a like that would be weird.
yeah.
And then there's Chance.
Yeah. There is a lot of things to go over with that guy in particular. Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's like, when I first met him over up in Naglamund,
where's that? What's that?
Naglamund is like that direction. He sort of points off in a sort of like thiswardly direction. Big city. A guy called Henry owns it. Kind of an ass, but he's our friend.
Was that the guy that ran at people with a boar hammer? And it was
that guy.
kind of funny to watch because he couldn't quite catch up to them.
Yeah, it's the short guy that looked like a pompous asshole when he is. But yeah, basically met him up there. Chance previously named you, which got confusing.
Me?
Don't worry. No, as in YU.
Oh,
The letters YU specify.
why though?
Yeah, no, it got very confusing very fast. I don't know. I don't think that's why he changed his name, but it's probably part of it.
He could have chosen something, I don't know, like Steve.
Yeah, I know. Basically, possibly like the biggest ass I've ever met of a person, and yet we kind of had to cooperate with him because he wasn't like a bad person per se, as in like willing to kill us immediately.
Wow, that's your criteria for a bad person?
Well, you encounter as many people as I have, and that criteria sort of opens up. Like, for example, there are no such thing as good people. There are decent people who are willing to do things for others, but no actually good people because, well, look at the world we're in. And then you have, like, okay people. You have, like, people, then you have, why people, and then you have bad people. Chance is, like, Chance was partway between the last and the former one. So, yeah, not a great person, but, like, not deserving of immediate swift death because he actually could be half decent and, like, maybe once a week. It was confusing. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of random shit with our guys, and it's a lot to unpack, for certain.
Yeah, I kind of figured that one out. Goes into bag, pulls out the whiskey from the past. I'm just going to open this. Do you want some?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, well, this is going.
Alright. I have more if you want.
No, too much, and yeah.
That's fine. But yeah, if you want any more questions answered in a rambling kind of manner, then hit me.
I'd rather not hit you. I could actually kill you.
Figuratively.
Yeah, I could actually. Could I do it figuratively as well? I haven't figured that one out yet, but I reckon I could. Don't want to, because you're nice. Ish.
Yeah.
Just anything you think I should know.
Okay, so let me think.
Just assume that I don't know, but I will say if I do know, but I probably don't.
So, first thing that I think you'll find entertaining, my father, who is the individual who
I'm well aware of what I know. The birds and the bees.
No, yeah. As far as I'm aware, prior to
Wait, how does...
Um,
Sorry, I don't want to cut you, but how does that work logistically? Like a god and just a regular old chap?
Well, from what I know, my mother is like a physical being in some capacity.
I would assume so?
So I've never really met her in person, but
Yeah, that would also be weird. Imagine
yeah.
if you had to bring someone to your mum, and then your mum's just like this, I don't know, 14-foot towering goddess made of fire. I don't know what Mekis looks like.
Neither do I. Well, I kind of do, but not really. But it's like, yeah. Long story short, my dad's last name, which he had after me.
Wait, his last name was named after you, not your last name after him.
No, so I don't have a last name.
Okay, that makes more sense.
But my dad didn't either until he had me, after which he named himself Blazefucker as a ode to him literally having sex with a god. And it's like, the fuck, man.
That... I'm going to be honest, that's probably the most sane thing I've heard out of this group.
Yeah, no. There are a lot of unique lineages, and obviously mine, one of the weirder ones, but for the most part, prior to all this kicking off, I had honestly had quite a sane life. The sane life as a de facto cult leader could have, mind you, but I wouldn't say cult, but besides the point.
Okay. You had me panicking there for a second. I was going to kill you.
It's like, you know how I kind of look weird? Like...
You honestly look like one of the most normal people here, Solas.
Okay, but like... Right, so... A while ago, I'm not entirely sure what happened, but I had like... my eyes were more orange, just all over.
Did you have a disease?
No, it was...
Did you see a herbalist? Or a cleric?
It was a result of my lineage that I had for the majority of my life. What you're seeing now is actually a more recent development. But to put it simply, I didn't look as normal as I do now, and that attracted people. Praised me as some incredibly divine being, or just a really fucking cool guy. It depends on the person. But yeah, no, it got weird at points with some people, but...
Yeah, I was going to question why the... Was that a tabaxi? I'm going to ask, never seen one.
From what I know, she's a shifter or something. Like...
Still never seen one.
No, she's the only one I'd seen prior to beating her as well. But yeah, Dune is one of the more sane individuals of that whole thing, though not very. I don't really know why she calls me master when, I mean, it was her that actually saved me from a horrible situation I got myself in. But I guess it just developed over time, and yeah, like, I'll be honest, I've kind of been avoiding her recently, intentionally.
That's fair.
Like, it's weird. I don't really get it. So I really do hope that others are fine. Like, there was one girl in particular, very young, tiefling, like you.
Oh my god, another one.
Though she was, like, mid to late teens at the time, she probably still is. But she was pure white, like stark white, skin, kind of horns blended into that, and her name was Joy, because, well, so literally her goal in life was to make everyone happy as they could be, and honestly. I can very much appreciate that. She was also very good at running away, which helped a lot. So I do hope... No point hoping. I know she's still alive. She's not a dumbass. But there was also the other guy. I believe... oh God, I forget he was a halfling or gnome. But short guy. And had a weird attraction to music. To the point where it was just kind of weird, but it was the sort of attitude Cousin needed, as he was always absurdly passionate about everything, and honestly, he always knew how to bring a bad situation out of it.
But he always knew how to make a bad situation?
No, like, bring a bad situation out of a bad situation, or like, how to make the bad not bad anymore, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Okay.
But there's also, like, there's a good number of others that I really liked to a capacity, but I will be honest, the fair majority were just okay. Just, you're there, and that's fine. So, but yeah, I've not been in contact with the fair majority of them for literal, like, weeks, almost well over a month, I think, at this point.
Wait,
because-
you lot have only been travelling around for a month?
There's one or two, yeah.
How the fuck have you caused so much chaos in, like, 2 months?
Oh, you'll be surprised.
I'm kind of impressed. I caused a ton, but that was over years.
Yeah, basically, we just never really stop, is the thing.
That doesn't sound healthy, and coming from me, that's impressive.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I've had several thoughts about how this has all just been going and going for a while, but to be fair, with what we're doing, especially now, in our current situation, we can't really take breaks. And so
But
it's like...
That's important, though, right? Like, if
Yeah,
the fate of the
no.
world is on you lot, then you need to be in the best possible shape. God,
Yeah.
that sounds weird coming from me.
It's like, we're on a time limit, and so we need to make the most of every single moment, but
Oh,
we also
dear
need
God.
to relax, but we also can't waste time, so it's just a matter of priorities, basically, and definitely find myself just sitting in a room by myself a lot more nowadays, ever since Chance took up the lead, you could say.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest with you, and I'm going to be honest, out of everyone, I feel the most comfortable talking to you because you probably, in the politest way, won't care. And that's kind of what I need.
Yeah, probably.
I don't like being near Chance.
Well, I can't entirely sympathize, but I fucking get you. Seriously, the amount of time I spent with him just... like, we just never got along for the longest time, and I don't know... Well, actually, I know exactly what happened, but... like... before Audra joined and, like, those two guys started getting along, it was just like...
Wait, it's those two?
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I thought it was Audra and you. I thought you did the whole, not talking about it during work hours and then afterwards. Although, to be fair, you stayed in separate rooms. I thought that was just a thing.
No,
Okay, good to know. And then
Okay.
Ollie and Arazid.
Yeah, that one was a bit... I feel like that one's a bit forced, but it works. And then...
That bird's
yeah.
making an interesting sound.
Oh, Lord, it's... fucking hell.
I now have an excuse to play police and sirens as prestidigitation.
But yeah, no, with all due respect to Audra, she is a nice person, but not really my thing. More for... It may come off as a kind of a no-shit moment, but I'm definitely more into down-to-earth, relaxed individuals.
That's fair.
And just say, like, for example, the guy Melt, I think. I don't think you've seen. Have you seen him? The guy that sort of looks like me but isn't.
That's Chance. That's really helpful. No, I think was it the Fire Ganassi
Yeah.
in Sklard's mansion that.
Yeah, that one.
I can provide a picture if you don't quite remember.
Oh, I remember as a player. How could I
I'm
forget?
gonna put a picture in anyway because I feel like every time I do, Solas dies a little inside.
He's literally hot, though.
I think, didn't we name a session after him once?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Solas goes on just to say.
Roughly onwards.
Yeah. Just says, so I first met him over in Blue Rock Lake, which is like Duras adjacent from what I know. Well, it's not anymore because it's gone, but
It's vacant.
something like that. Anyway, first time I met him, he came on to me hard. And
Wait, he assaulted you?
I could have phrased that better, I'll admit. What I mean is he was like very aggressive with the insinuations.
Oh.
To the point where it was like, okay, and it's like I literally just met the guy, and I'll admit he is good looking. However, like, tone it down, please. Yeah, and to the point where I've like not actively been avoiding him, but if I've seen him, I've just like given him a kind wave and just been like away. Yeah, so there's not very many people I've met that's like I've considered, you know.
Yeah, I can see that.
So honestly, it's a very chaotic world, so it makes sense. But like general people around are like either high and mighty to the point where it's honestly kind of pissing me off, or just kind of stupid to the point where it's just like, oh please no. So it's sort of, but yeah. Anyway, that went on for a lot longer than I thought it would.
No, that's fine. I mean,
In my business?
I don't know how much I'm willing to answer, given that I know you for about 5 days. But it seems like I've known you for, what, multiple 4-hour periods? It's possibly 10 of them, give or take, if I was to put a number on them. Like, if you've got questions and I'm comfortable with answering... Yes. It's multiple shifts as well. I mean, if you've got questions I can kind of answer. Oh, I know. Something that I can definitely share with you, and I'm comfortable with sharing. Common isn't my first language.
Interesting.
I can read it, I can write it, and I can obviously speak it.
Mm-hmm.
But my first taught language was Draconic.
Well, technically speaking, Common is... Okay. So, Common is technically my second language, purely because Primordial is, like, literally ingrained into my blood.
Oh, kind of like me with... Oh, no, Solas with the politest thing I can suggest. No, I remember Primordial lessons in school. I hated it.
Yeah,
I could never get the T's right.
It's very Yeah, well, it's kind of goes that way with all ancient languages to the point where it's like, what's the point anymore? Because those things were evolved into different ones, and it's like, yeah, I learned Common from my father, knew Primordial from the day I was born, and then I learned Draconic also from my father because he had an odd fascination with dragons to the point where it also was kind of concerning. Like, it was almost like ever since my mother left, he needed to find a new obsession with, like, weird fantastical things. And I guess dragons was that thing, so yeah. But,
Yeah, well, I'm the same with Infernal. I've got no bloody idea how I know it, I just know it. So that's
Yep.
a fun one. And then Draconic, my, oh, what would be the thing for it? Not really stepfather? Guardian? Parent? Stepfather. I'll go with stepfather. It's the closest bloody thing I can think of. Taught that to me. He was a dragonborn. Yeah, Rook. Hard ass, complete opposite of your. I was going to say father, but then I wanted to say college delinquent for some reason, and I've got no idea what a college is, but I don't know, must have read it in a book or something.
It checks out, I think.
But yeah, no, he taught me that. Blue, dragonborn, white eye, scar over that eye. Nice guy. And then he just decided he had the audacity to go and die.
Well, that's not good.
No.
Out of character, did you happen to see the death firsthand?
No.
No.
It was told to her that, Rook died in a battle, but any time she'd question it, she got sent off to the. Oh, I needed to remember it's called a hot hut, not the spicy torture room, because that sounds like something else.
Well, I feel like the spicy
hot
torture
hut
room is absolutely a nickname that Providence would have given to it. So I'm willing to make that canon.
Close enough.
I am a generous god.
Yep.
Sorry, I just needed. I wanted to know that for no particular reason whatsoever. Moving on.
Of course. Yeah. He raised me after, well, parents weren't around, obviously. I can't remember my mom to save my life. So either one of them or both of them were tieflings. Or one of them was a human or an elf, and one of them, like, took the same classes as your dad and got really interested with a demon. Because, just looks up.
You know, I've never really thought about it. Like, how the fuck does that happen?
Yeah, how does that happen? Do you just, like, fucking, I don't know, draw a pentagram in tomato sauce or blood and summon a demon? And then it's like, yo, what up? And it's like, yeah, me, you, kid, let's go. It's like, how does that work? That seems rushed.
I need your soul, your shoes, and your motorcycle.
Or is it a case where, you know, like in like fairy tales where it's like, oh, like for this deal I will take your firstborn child, and then the other person's like, right, let's go make that firstborn child like there and then. Like, yeah, no, you brought this up. Do we need to work out the logistics of this? Can we? I don't know whether we do. Can we go ask your mom?
I don't know where she is, but like,
can you just like pray or something? I don't know.
It's been a while. It was really successful last time, I think. Just give me a fucking second. And Solas will like legitimately go find a corner and like just sit down and focus. and try and make some semblance of contact with mechas.
I love how this is the equivalent of going to your parents and going, "How is Babby born?"
I mean, she was never really there to explain these things before, so. I am going to ask Solas to roll a religion check.
Go ahead and have a guidance, because I want to know this answer.
I'm not great at
Go
these.
so far as to argue that Providence is helping you with this.
Okay.
Ah, yes, the cultist who was taught that Mekis is to be vilified is helping you.
I mean, technically, you have a connection to Mekis, in the same way that it's argued that Satanists still believe in God, even though they say that they hate God. They still believe that God is a concept.
Yeah, that's fair.
20.
You close your eyes, you clasp your hands together, you end up, your ears end up filling up with the pulsating of your blood. And as you may have heard, your blood is her blood. You are her twice. And you immediately get back screaming. Like chaotic, disorganized, panicked, screaming mess.
So, Solas would, like, you would see him physically jump. However, he would not break focus. And see if there's a way to just push through that.
Please roll me another religion check, or a straight constitution check may be more appropriate.
Okay.
If I see him bleeding, yeah, I'll give him another guidance, because I can just keep doing that.
Alright. Guidance didn't get added.
Yeah, it does get added because it's a check.
Okay, no. Oh no, it didn't get added in the roll though. So yes, 23.
You absorb the screaming, and you kind of peel away the surfaces, and you begin to hear her raging in her own mind that she was once great. She was once second only to the bleeder himself, and now she cannot even move of her own volition. She chased him. She killed a golden turtle and destroyed its ship. And she was for that absorbed. And now she marches slowly, surely, northwards. There is a sense of foreboding in her voice.
He just sort of looks like he was not expecting any of this. And he just, like, just watching where she's going. As he's gonna see if he can just keep following behind her.
You see, like, the mountains that she's staring out of from a fair distance away. You've never seen them from this angle, so for that I would ask for, like, a nature or a survival check.
Okay.
If you have a difference between those.
I do.
The mountains that she is approaching are the mountains to the south of Grove.
Oh God.
I know about this!
So, as Solas realizes this, Providence, you would see his eyes just open immediately. And as they do, they'd sort of, like, flicker, I guess. Like a split second, they'd be sort of deeper green in color before they came back to their bright orange. And you just look up to you and it's like, that was not at all what I expected.
Right, so I'm guessing it's not the regular method. Also, you shouldn't be bleeding from your ears. That's generally a bad sign. Are you experiencing a brain hemorrhage? I read that in a book. I don't actually know what one is.
Okay, I need to gather up everyone. I didn't get the answer, unfortunately, but I did learn something that is kind of concerning. So, like, I don't think you...
Walk and talk. If we need to go find the... I've got an idea to find the others. Like, I can probably get their attention.
As long as it doesn't involve destroying things, go for it.
Oh, okay, I won't use one of these shards. I tried one of these shards earlier. I ended up summoning something from another plane, and it's currently in... It was in the field for a minute with... Is it Triss?
Trim, yeah.
Trim. Yeah, I think I scared him a little bit, because... Like, I summoned these things, and they wanted to go back to me to return, but they couldn't get near me because they were scared of me, like everything. And they were just kind of, like... People, let's go. And we'll just talk.
Yeah.
I will cast... do I have dancing lights? Yeah, I do. I'm going to basically use dancing lights and prestidigitation together to make it look like I fired a flare gun in the middle of town. That should get their attention.
So as like the two walk out, Solas was going to be like, so basically, Mecca's mother, big lady who is fire goddess, she's that way. As he points down to the south to the mountains.
What's she doing there? Also, I thought you said they weren't a physical thing. Which, again, really confuses me as to how your dad managed to, you know... You.
I mean, she... Look, let's just say there was a lot of screaming, a lot of complaining, in very violent ways. But something is telling me that like, bad things are going to happen over the next few hours, if not days.
So, like the past 5 days.
Maybe worse.
What do you mean worse?
Well, this town...
Solas.
Look, this town is kind of like our stronghold, and like...
It's flammable!
She burned her ass to the fucking ground at one point. This would be nothing. By comparison.
I mean, of course it wouldn't. All she'd have to do is, like, breathe on a fucking tree and it would just go...
Yeah, look, it's just get everyone together. I'll explain shit.
I mean, look, I blinded half the town with that flare. If we don't get their attention, then, you know, fate served its purpose and they'll die in a fireball.
I don't just look up at the sky like, ooh, pretty. I wonder who's doing that.
I get the feeling at this point, like Chance and Audra are also kind of done of their whole conversation and are now actively looking for the others.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably accurate. If only for roleplay purposes.
Hi, guys! So great to see you!
Solas is looking panicked.
Are you okay? Did you lose something?
He spoke to his mom.
What?
Oh, how?
Well, I've done it before, like, just tense focus, and just it's kind of hard to explain, regardless.
Here, I'm cleaning the blood out your ears with prestidigitation.
Oh, do you need a healing? I have good berries. Can we just...
No, that's fine, don't worry. Long story short, so, first thing, apparently Mecca's killed Sunny. which is like, what?
Wait, who's
Sunny?
Sunny?
What?
Yeah, she
Well, I
was...
mean, it answers
Oh,
the
that friend that
question.
stole your ship?
Yeah.
Right, let me... Hold on. It's like, he sort of relaxes and takes a deep breath, and is just there like, so, let me just give you the sort of play-by-play of what happened. So, obviously, sat down in a corner, reason, I'll explain the reason later, but, basically, after intense focus, all I got was just screaming. Violent hatred and just pain just ringing through my ears, and that's probably what caused the bleeding. But I tried to maintain focus, did so, and pushed through, and I got a bit of a vision. She mentioned about killing the turtle and ripping open its shell, destroying the ship along with it. Which is obviously Sunny, who she chased after. And then I saw her going north, but towards mountains. And Solas points off to the south. Those mountains.
I actually have news about those mountains too. So I did a little divination about just like what's going to happen then in the next 7 days because, you know, we need to know. And within the next 7 days, half of an army is gonna cluster there. Also, we really made a mistake not taking care of things in Own, because apparently they're just gonna blast through there, and the army's gonna double in size if we don't do something about it.
Chance's mouth opens and closes, opens and closes. Look, I saw mechas fly off, like, from where the floating island was originally to the north, and Sunny was chasing after. How, like, after a Arazid? How is mechas in the south now?
I don't know.
I mean, mechas is like super power, right? Can they teleport? Can they do that?
I mean, it's been a few days, probably, since you guys said you've met her, so could have, like, flown around everywhere. I don't know. But yeah, no. I'm worried.
You have good reason to be concerned. That's extremely concerning.
Is there any way to intuit? No. No. Never mind. That's Chance wouldn't know that at this point.
So, Solas would kind of like to think back. How far away was she from the mountains?
Make me another survival check.
Okay. Oh.
I love the consistency. Like, the mountains were really quite small to her. She looks like she's a good few days off. Possibly,
So,
you know, somewhere around 6 or 7.
okay, okay, random question. How would you guys feel if mechas came along with Cool's army?
What?
I mean, it's obviously
No, that
I mean,
that would
okay.
never happen. She, like, based on first-hand experience,
doesn't
went
mechas
after to
hate
go kill a
Arazid?
Arazid.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that's...
I think there's a part I missed out on. It's honestly, it is admittedly kind of blurry. It's like, it sounded like she didn't even have control of her body. Like, she wasn't in control. At least from what she said.
What?
So either a Arazid or Cool has mechas under their control.
Maybe.
I thought things are bad. This has gone from bad to worse.
This has gone from bad to, oh, what the fuck?
Definitely, there's some problems. For sure, there's some problems.
I'm gonna say, because I was going to recommend we just go wipe out the group to the south that is currently there that they're going to meet. But now it sounds like we also need to just wipe out the army before they get to Grove. Because if a fire deity shows up to Grove, this isn't going to go well.
No, we absolutely cannot allow that. No.
I mean, you like, how would someone get control of your mother? God, that sounds weird.
Dominate person, Gaius? I mean, was she more specific?
I wouldn't think dominate person would work on a deity.
I mean,
deity schmanity.
Crossed swords.
something would tell me that a Manazut has magic beyond anything we can even begin to create. And dominating a god doesn't sound outside the realms. You know that?
These pigeons.
Who are you talking about?
Perry, we're having a private conversation.
Very disturbing news.
Yeah, I'll be honest. No, I'm not thinking straight, don't worry. Yeah, no.
Right. Logically speaking, it wouldn't be Cull, right? Cull's like a general. You wouldn't give all your power to a general.
And cool is in the other direction.
I've given up with trying to understand that.
Unless perhaps a Monozid has taken control of Mechas and using Mechas as a lieutenant to command the army in the south? This does raise a question, though. Would you raise your sword and fight your mother?
Well, I'm more worried about what would happen if I did.
So don't. There's gotta be another.
Oh, because you're a paladin for your mother, obviously.
Wait, what?
Well, it's a bit more complicated than that, but...
The prophecy, you're blood of my blood and all that.
Oh, which one?
The one around the amalgam.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's a fun fact about me, right? I can only have this power because of the pact I have with her. This whole magic and the way I look, this innate flame in my body, is because of the pact. Without it, it is ultimately unstable and could easily just escape my body. And I don't know what would happen if that were to happen.
Well, it's not going to happen. We can't fight a god, because we'd probably lose. Although, to be fair, we fought so many things at this point. So,
we've already fought godlike beings. Amanda said we've already killed a embodiment of, which, is probably on par, if not a bit stronger than Mechas, given these recent developments.
what could we, in theory, take and disrupt control of your mom? Like, just long enough for them to break off the chains themselves.
Perhaps, maybe.
So I feel like that might be the best way. Give them long enough to, I don't know what gods do. Vibe?
Well, when
Kind
she
of just
was...
exist.
Yeah,
From what I know, they live life and just make sure things go well enough. So,
Yeah, this looks like it's going well enough.
well,
Could
she isn't herself.
potentially look at breaking control. There's the possibility that if we are able to protect Audra, could you dispel any magic?
So let's feel free to say no if you're not comfortable, but you said you saw her, spoke to her, correct?
It was more of a vision. I never spoke a word to her directly.
Would you mind if I took just like a little peek to see if I can see what I can see?
I mean, go ahead. I can't stop you.
I'm asking your permission in case you want to stop me.
Well, I can't, so I shan't.
Okay. I'm gonna cast Detect Thoughts on Solas, and if Solas doesn't resist, I'm immediately gonna go deeper to try to get a first-hand glance at that vision.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You see a very far off mountain, a mountain you're very familiar with, but from the other side, so it kind of looks like it's been flipped around. You see through your eyes the observation of like a body made of fire, moving slowly towards this mountain. They seem to be surrounded by desert mirages. There's like humanoid shapes that fluctuate in and out of being real. They all look vaguely orcish in nature, and they are all angry and carrying weaponry.
And do I hear that line that I don't think Solas mentioned out loud, but I think happened when he was seeing the vision, that Amonazid said they were absorbed. Sorry, not Amonazid, Mecca said they were absorbed.
You hear like the same kind of mantra of like sorrow and annoyance, of feeling trapped. Yes.
And now that I'm seeing this firsthand, could I potentially do an Arcana check with the help action from Solas's memories to figure out what has happened?
Sure. Thank heck for that help action.
Thank heck.
It seems that Mekis lost the fight between herself and Amonazid, and her consciousness has been absorbed into Amonazid's own. And she no longer completely is in control of her own body or brain.
And would I have any idea of how to reverse that other than, a reversal of the original, ritual like you talked about, with Amonazid to separate the beings?
You could, guess with a 27 that there are other magical solutions, ones that you would have to try when Mekis is there.
Yeah, I'm reading it. Okay, we'll withdraw from Solas's mind and relay that information. So it looks like your mom was maybe absorbed into Amonazid and is being fully dominated by that personality right now.
So sort of like a assuming direct control situation.
Yeah, it's like almost like they're like two, like it's like a simulacrum almost of the same being. It's like they're able to fully control Mex's body as if it were their own.
Right.
There are maybe things that I could do, but I would have to like be there.
Well, it's only a few days, so.
Speaking of only a few days, do we really want to wait for them to come to us, or do we maybe want to see what we can do about going to them, maybe?
Yeah, that's our next decision of what are we doing next. I think we have to deal with whatever it is to the south. We don't have an option anymore. That is the highest priority. If we presumed it was going to be a battle between armies, not a battle between an army and a god on their side.
Well, why don't we go get one on our side?
Do you know any gods?
I mean,
'Cause
honestly,
the
we could
only
all be
two
gods.
that I know apparently are now evil. Well, one's dead, the other's evil.
Okay, calm down.
It would
Just
behoove
an
me
idea.
to remind Chance that he knows of one potential god who approximately 1,000 years ago fell to the earth.
Huh?
Somewhere in the Kumtawa abyss.
Oh, the fallen sun. I mean, yeah, we could completely ignore everything and go dive into the abyss.
You
But
know that
I don't-
the sun that remains in the sky has its own emotions, its own hatred, its own mind. It's possible that the husk would have one too.
There's a possibility the husk could help us.
The what?
The husk of the fallen sun. When the elements were taken from it and the sun died and fell to the earth, it fell into a ravine, like a large ravine known as the Kamakawa Abyss? Kamtawa Abyss, not far from here. It would make sense that given the hatred of and emotions coming from Apollo, that Artemis could also, or I guess the husk of Artemis could also have some power residing within it.
Do we have that chance?
I mean, it would be a complete crapshoot, because I can neither confirm nor deny. If
Well, I mean,
this-
we're here, right? We could just go look.
I'm going to be honest, having another extremely powerful individual on our side would be beneficial.
I don't
Does
know
it-
if we could.
Well, if we don't try something, we're going to fail. Let's put it bluntly. The armies are going to counteract each other, and then it's us against whatever lieutenant they bring and mechas. Like, we're good. Well, I know I'm good. I've seen what you lot are capable of. But there are limits.
I mean, we need to decide what we're going to do. And it seems that we have a split between trying and dealing with it ourselves or going to the abyss.
I mean, we have time. So, I have a timeline. We have at least 7 days, probably 10. So we have time to try to go to the abyss and then maybe try to go to Un and then maybe go to the south and deal with that. So
We also know about the circle in the map of Rendion. going to say, if we're not going to deal with the army now, I believe our best bet is to tackle the abyss and look into Rendion, because if there's some notification of they're in this specific location.
Who?
A map we found in Own in regards to Cool's movements and plans. We have
That's
no
something-
idea who it is, or who or what it might be, but they're like it. There's just a mention of
I mean,
something called Rendion here.
has anyone looked in the library?
Yeah, I was gonna say I forgot about Rendion as like Sarah, but Audra would have looked that up. Is that something I could retcon that I looked up, maybe?
Sure. Give me a history check with that. You didn't find any mention to a Rendion or Rendion.
There's nothing in the library. I don't know. But like I said, a lot of the stuff we're dealing with is immediately, post calamity or pre calamity, and there's not that much from that time.
Do you know what? Solas, it's your mom. I feel like you get to decide.
I do have an idea. Before, or I guess when we rest for the night, do you have the ability to use the dream spell, Audra?
Yeah, I have it prepared.
Okay. I believe there's someone we can ask who may know or have some information. Well, two people potentially, but one we can kind of get in contact with a bit easier than the other.
Dream is actually not concentration, so if somebody is willing to be a messenger, I can cast it more than once tonight.
Because I believe, let me just open up the character thing right quick so I can get names right. Aegis is a potential, but I mean, we can always use the stones to reach Aegis once that Arazid's done.
Digging.
Yes. Let me go find where I need to. I'm bad with names. No.
If you let me know who you're thinking of, I can probably tell you the name.
Oh, it's the one of the elders of Onalembo, not Asuka, not the war chief. The
Emoja?
Yes, Emoja. That's who Chance wants to speak to via dream spell tonight.
Okay. I think that is something we can probably tackle out of game. We are approaching break time, and I am approaching my limit.
That's fine.
So to wrap things up, should we just say we rest then? And then we can tackle long rest things like spellcrafting and everything. And that gives us time to also out of game RP everything that we want to do.
Sounds great.
And decide, fully decide where we want to go next, because then we can also get input from Dewey and Matt.
Yeah, my D&D vibe for the evening hasn't diminished. Just my ability to do it audio. So feel free to start things in the out of game roleplay, and we can go from there.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
start a bunch of threads.
Yeah, Demon, I can cast Dream more than once, so I can give the chance to connect with Emoja, and I could connect Solas to Mechas, and Otter would 100% make that offer if Solas wants to try to actually have a conversation.
Yeah, you take it.
Unfortunately, Providence.
Yeah, I don't have enough carrier pigeons to do non-verbal D&D. I can type though, so that's fine.
Fair enough.
I also need to put that light back in the ceiling.
Well, I will catch you all in the out-of-game roleplay chat then, and thank you for
Mhm.
that.
Yes, thank you for jamming. No, you're not. 100%. We appreciate you.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick around for a hot minute. I think
Oh,
if
yeah.
anybody else would to potentially discuss things, and I'm going to do like rolls and everything for custom spell, item enhancing stuff like that.